Hey, this is Anderson East, and you are listening to by far the greatest podcast that's ever existed, Walking the Floor.
Perfect. I'm walking the floor over you.
Walking the floor.
I'm walking the floor. Walking the floor over you. Hola, senors and senoritas. This here is Chris Shiplet, and you are listening to Walking the Floor. Yes, the world continues to descend into total chaos. There's protesting down in St. Louis. There's the fallout from Trump's disastrous speech at the UN. Hopefully by the time I get this thing posted, the world will not have descended into nuclear war. I don't think it will. I think as much as there's those negatives out there, there are positives as well. You have the Jawbreaker reunion show at Riot Fest last weekend that I can't believe I missed. But by all accounts, it was amazing. Hopefully there'll be more of that coming soon, and I'll actually get to see one of their reunion shows. For those of you that don't know, I was like, if there was like a Jawbreaker equivalent of a Deadhead, that would have been me in the early to mid 90s, man. I was obsessed. I continue to be obsessed. And they've got a documentary film coming out. I think I'm going to go see it next week in LA when I'm back. Can't wait. It's been a great week in London. I went to go see Arsenal play Chelsea at Stamford Bridge on Sunday. It was fantastic. What else? The record's been out all week. We did that great gig at the O2 the other night. That was great. People knew the new songs and could sing along. It was really fun. Great night. Rick Astley was there. We did that again. Fantastic. We were at the rehearsal last night for taping the Jules Holland Show 25th anniversary thing that we're doing. And we get to the venue, the Royal Albert Hall, by the way, which I've never performed at, and that's totally amazing in itself. And I'm walking down the hallway to get to our dressing room, and I walk by Paul Weller's dressing room, and I look in there, and there's the man. There's Paul Weller just standing there. And I was like, no, I really wanted to go, hey, man, I'm Chris from Foo Fighters. It's a pleasure to meet you. But I just kept walking because I was a little scared. I was nervous. And then I went to our dressing room, and I sat there for a minute. I was like, what am I doing? I got to go meet Paul Weller. I mean, he's like a hero of mine. I got to go meet that dude. When am I going to get a chance to meet that dude? I've been in the Foo Fighters for 18 years. I've never had a chance to meet Paul Weller. So I got up and I walked back to his room, and he was gone, man. So hopefully tonight. That's my mission tonight. By the time you hear this, I will know. You will know, too, because if I meet him, there'll be a picture of it on my Instagram feed for sure. Wish me luck. Anywho, I just checked the Spotify Walking the Floor playlist, ladies and gentlemen, and we are up to 738 followers, which is a big leap. I owe that almost entirely to the Chris Stapleton interview episode. That's probably what accounts for that. But let's keep it going. We're gathering momentum here. We're closing in on that 500,000 followers mark. That's the benchmark we're trying to reach. And we got 738. So we're off to a good start, people. Tell your mom, tell your grandma, tell your neighbor, tell your kids. Follow that playlist. It's easy. Walking the Floor. Just search for it on there and you'll find it. It's the best Americana and country honky-tonk and whatever kind of stuff that I like to listen to. You're going to love to listen to it. Go sign up now. Oh boy, let's talk about Zounds.com. You know my friends at Zounds.com. They make gear so affordable. Did you know that Zounds has absolutely free shipping on every order with no minimum purchase required and no exclusions? So get on over to Zounds.com and order your gear now. All right, let's get to Anderson East. The first time I met Anderson East was at his surprise birthday party at some little bar out in Nashville. It was the summer of 2016. I was there making a record with Dave Cobb. He said, hey, man, do you mind if we take a break tonight and go over? It's my friend Anderson's surprise birthday party. So we jumped in his truck and we drove over there, and we got there a little early, and we waited there quietly until Anderson walked in the door, and we all yelled, surprise! And then Cobb introduced me because, Anderson's on Cobb's label, and Cobb produces his records and stuff. So he introduced me, and he's such a sweet dude, such a sweet, humble guy. And while I was in Studio A, I could hear him upstairs. He's got a little writing room. I could hear him up there fiddling around with new tunes and new ideas. But I'd never seen him play live until a few weeks ago when I caught up with him opening up for Chris Stapleton up there at Shoreline Amphitheater in Mountain View. Yeah, just like the Stapleton interview, you can hear some soundcheck noise going on in the background, so just deal with that. Now, I know that Anderson's got a new single out that he co-wrote with Ed Sheeran, which I completely forgot to ask him about, how that came about. But we talked about everything else. So this is Anderson East on Walking the Floor. So how's tour been? How long you been out with Stapleton?
This is the second night of this run, and we had done, I don't know how, we've done a lot of tours with him.
Oh, really? So you've done these kind of big arena shed type tours before?
Yeah.
How do you find, how is that like bouncing between like those crazy big shows and then doing your own shows?
It's these are definitely a lot harder, but
really,
I think they are. Especially I think any opening slot's always harder than your own show.
Right.
But they've been great though. All the crowds on this past tour we've done with them has been awesome. Sonically, I don't really get it, like playing outside.
Oh, it's tough, huh?
Yeah.
Oh, well, I saw he's got that crazy contraption up there. That's
yeah.
Does he leave that up there when you guys are playing too?
Yeah, it's there. I don't know how much good it does for me being that far in front of it. I think, maybe our horn section and drums may get some.
Right.
It's a really cool concept, though.
Yeah. Well, that's always a tough thing, like outdoor gigs. I remember the first time as a kid playing in like a park.
Yeah.
And just going like, wait, what happened? This doesn't sound like the kegger we played last week.
Exactly.
Where the noise
the energy's gone.
Yeah, that's funny. I mean, it's definitely different than a club or whatever.
Mm-hmm. But they all have their ups and downs.
Yeah. So I remember when I was out there recording with Cobb last summer, when we were downstairs, I could hear you sometimes upstairs. In your room up there.
Well, I'll apologize.
Oh no, it's all good. But like I could hear you working on new songs and stuff. Mm-hmm. I know you were up there working with Aaron.
Yeah.
When I was there, and I saw that you have a new single out.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering if that means, is there a new album?
There
in
is.
The can?
There is. And
when's that coming?
I believe around the first of the year.
Oh, okay.
I think so. That's what they tell me.
Like, how's that process? Are you on Dave's label?
Yep.
Okay. And he produced the record, obviously, right?
He's got a monopoly over me. I try not to piss him off.
Well, how does that work? Like, do you just, since you're there and you have that room upstairs, are you just constantly writing and recording, and then you just wait till you got the 10 songs that you feel like make the record, or do you still go in and do it with him, like, in a chunk?
I do, yeah, I'm never home long enough to, have like, oh, we're just going in for, this month or whatever.
Right.
So we just kind of go, oh, you got like 4 or 5 songs, let's just cut them, and then we'll come back to it, a month later, a week later, 2 months, there's no rhyme or reason. It's just, when I'm home, I'm always working, and then we'll find a time to cut them, hopefully.
How did you connect with him?
We had a mutual friend, and I was on this show at the Bluebird, and he came to see her sing, and I drank too much on stage, and so it was one of those like rider in the round kind of things, and so when it was my turn, I got up to go take a piss and made everybody wait.
He was like, sign that young man.
Yeah, he was like, sign him up, I guess.
Perfect.
So, yeah, that's how we met. And then I do a lot of engineering, or I did. And so I engineered for him and, did some studio stuff for him. And then he's like, well, let's,
Is that what you did, like, when you were, a a young struggling musician in town before.
Yeah, that's what I moved to town to do. Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, let's back up a little bit. Where'd you grow up?
I grew up in Athens, Alabama. It's like an hour and a half south of Nashville.
Oh, okay. So was Nashville like the place that you were driving up to go see big shows and all that? Like, did you always have that in mind that was the destination?
I don't think so. It was just like that was just the closest place that I knew that shit was going on.
Right.
You know, so it's like
how old were you when you got the music bug?
I'd say about 12, something like that. And I was, you know, because like Athens, there was like one like, you know, rickety little, you know, guitar shop, and that was it. It was a dry county, so there was no bars, no music being played, and it was just like, you know, my folks got me one of those Tascam Porta ones. You remember those, like the little 4-track cassette? And I was like, man, that is the coolest thing. And I just always was trying to figure out how to like make my parents, you know, I'd get like Mix Magazine and be like, I'd see a computer and be like, oh, I don't know how they're getting music into that computer somehow. I'd see all the rack gear, and I'd be like, I think there's plugs on the back of it.
Right,
I can't see it.
So it's going into that computer somehow.
Yeah.
I know it.
Yeah, and
were you playing already by then?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I mean,
was your family musical? Did you have like brothers and sisters and stuff?
My mom was the only real musical one. I mean, my dad sang in choir, like gospel choirs and groups like that, but my mom was the piano player at church.
Okay.
All growing up. So
I mean, what kind of music were you listening to as a kid?
Just whatever's on the radio, anything I got my hands on. Like my second job I ever had, they opened up a Sam Goody next to the Super Walmart.
For people that are listening, that's was a record store back in the days when there were record stores.
Yeah. And so yeah, I got a job there when I was like 15, and I just, you know, cycled the money back into them,
right.
buying records. So yeah, there was I had no filter for what was any good or anything like that. But
so you didn't have like a big brother that was like, you can't listen to that. That was
no, not really.
I had that in my life.
Really?
I had two big brothers.
Oh, I'm jealous.
And so like I had to I mean, it was great on one hand because I had access to their record collections or whatever. But on the other hand, I had to like hide things that I knew that they didn't like.
They didn't approve of.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had my buddy Will, his older sister. She would like slip us some like Dead CDs or Fish stuff. I was real into jam band stuff, and
well, I'm wondering if I always trip out on people. Like I'm assuming you were, you know, heavily influenced by like Southern soul, and R&B, and all that kind of stuff. That couldn't have possibly been like the hip thing that your friends were listening to. So I'm wondering how you found that. Like, is there still an appreciation where you grew up for that kind of music? Like,
I didn't really know about it, to be honest with you. I remember like the first time I was like, oh wow, that happened right here.
Right.
So my buddy of mine, his dad was, or I guess still is, Little Richard's guitar player, Kelvin Holly, and they lived in Florence, and him and his wife bought the second incarnation of Muscle Shoals Sound and turned it into what is now called Cypress Moon.
Ah.
And so
was that the studio when the musicians broke off from fame or whatever?
Well, they went to the Jackson Highway studio first, where they did like Rolling Stones,
right,
cut the all that, and then they moved to a bigger, like more proper facility, and that's the one I'm talking about. So we got introduced. Me and my buddy Kyle, we went over. They had a Christmas party every year, so we'd go over there, and like Donna Jean Gaucho, and the first time I met Jason Isbell was like at that Christmas party,
right?
You know.
And did you know who he was? Was that like when he was in Drive By Truckers or something, or was that even before that? Or
I don't know. I don't remember if he was still. He must have been, because I was still in high school.
Right.
So,
like, was he already like? Did you know like that?
Yeah, I was like
somebody doing something.
Yeah, totally.
Right.
Yeah.
How old were you when you first started playing in bands?
I was in. It was our 7th grade. I got a band together I conned all my friends into getting instruments, and we played the talent show.
That was my first gig.
Yeah.
9th grade talent show. Nice.
Yeah.
It was like, what was that? What did that sound like?
Oh, it was awesome, man. It was killer. I wrote a song.
Oh, you even did an original for your talent show?
I wrote an original song, and then we went over our time and played Freebird.
Nice. Which just isn't a short song anyway.
Yeah. Well,
to begin
we
with.
couldn't do like the whole jam at the end. We
Right.
just kind of did our own. But we played Freebird every time we played. Yeah, it was a really good idea.
It probably worked. At least people are like, I know what that song is.
I don't think we won, though.
See, we did a Kiss song at our talent show, but I think we were so horrible.
Oh,
it was like I watched that recently. I got a video.
Oh, that's
our drummer had a videotape of it that I got kind of recently, and it's basically like incomprehensible. It just sounds like.
Those are fun.
Yeah, those are fun.
Yeah.
Okay, so what are you listening to at that? Like, are you playing in rock and roll bands or country bands? What kind of thing was it?
Literally just getting like Guitar World and Guitar Player magazine and learning the songs in the back of them.
Just whatever it was.
Whatever it was.
Right.
There's no filter. It's just all
one
input.
minute it's a Creed song, then it's a Brian Setzer tune.
Yeah.
Really?
Wow. I learned all of them. And Incubus and,
right.
Then peppered in with a Fish song or
Right.
So
yeah, that's good. Like just draw from everything.
Yeah, I had no filter.
When did you kind of like find, your sound? Like when did you hit on that? Like the sort of the soul R&B thing that you do.
There's always been like tinges of it, like I was always, since I was a kid was trying to write songs. That was the only reason I would write songs was so I could record them.
Right.
And that's the only reason I learned how to play guitar. Everything was like strictly based on making something on a compact disc or a record or a tape, whatever it was.
Right.
But yeah, I think there was always this kind of element because that's just naturally what my voice wanted to do. And then, I don't know, I think I'm still trying to figure out exactly what that sounds like. And,
right. I mean, I like it's interesting to me that the idea of a young musician finding singing the way you do, like finding that voice. It's a very specific thing. It almost seems like a very kind of audacious, gutsy move for like a young kid to sing the way you do.
Yeah.
It
took some.
You could be mistaken for like a 1965 R&B singer or something.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
I've walked
you
into
really
like radio
nailed that
stations.
thing,
and, yeah, people are like, "Who are you?" They're like,
right.
They're expecting some like old black man to be walking in. I'm like, I'm sorry, I'm just some.
So you had that was there.
I guess
early on.
I mean, I always tried to sing pretty,
right?
But then I was like, I can't really sing all that pretty. But I tried.
When did you know? Like, when did you know that this was what you wanted to do? Like, this was the life that you wanted to pursue?
It was probably 8th grade.
Really? So you knew early?
Yeah. Well, that's the only thing I've ever been like good enough at.
Right.
Like I'm awful in school. Can't do math. Don't like helping people with whatever they want. I'm not good in retail jobs.
That's gonna be the headline. Anderson East does not like helping people.
Well, it's just like I couldn't be a waiter.
Right.
I was just,
right.
And so,
well, what did you do after high school when you like went out into the world to try to make it, or what?
Well, I went to school.
Okay.
And I went to Middle Tennessee State down in Murfreesboro because they had a recording program. And I didn't want to go to college.
That's when you found out what those cables were.
Exactly.
Connecting all that stuff to the computer.
Yeah. And I still was like terrible in school, but I could smoke ass at that stuff,
Right.
It's like I was super focused on making records and, just everything that goes into it. And so I stayed there for like 2 years and then moved to Nashville. And then I was just freelancing engineering and whatever kind of gig I could get. And
were you in the room where were you making records and stuff for other people?
Yeah.
Any notable things?
I did a lot of CCM work, and I cannot remember. It's in the Christian world. They're massive, and I don't remember what their name is. If you're listening to this, I'm sorry. It'll come to me. They're sweet guys, though. Really.
Right.
But yeah, and then me and my guitar player Scotty, we started a studio. Just like, did you ever go to Dave's old house?
No.
Well, he had a house where we cut Delilah at, and it was like stone's throw away from there. But we it was this amazing old the Church of Christ actually owned the house that we lived in, so we turned the entire bottom into a studio, and we were in there making probably 40 records a year.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
And just whatever they'd pay us for.
So when you're working now with Dave and whoever he's got in there engineering, do you get involved in that stuff, or do you kind of hands off it?
Every now and again, I'll get in there and play on Pro Tools or something. But that's the hardest thing I think I've ever learned how to do, is to step away, because like I said, my entire mission in life was to learn how to make records.
Yeah.
And now I've finally figured out, it's like you let people that have really acquired skill sets do their job, and you do yours. And so now I'm just trying to be present for the performance, and then trust everyone around me.
Right.
And Dave's really the one guy that I've ever found that I can just go, all right, I know you got it.
He's a good guy to put your trust in.
Yeah. And there's not a lot of people really that I would do that with, that I've met or worked with, and I've been in the studio with a lot of people.
Sure.
So it's like,
well, can you talk a little bit about what that experience was like for you moving to Nashville when you were first trying to make it or whatever? Because didn't you have an independent release before Delilah? Mm-hmm. So what were those early years like?
It was just terrifying. I moved when I was 17, didn't know a soul, and just did whatever the hell I could do. It's like, and at that time, in Nashville, 13 some odd years ago, it was definitely a different place,
Right.
And
it's been a huge boom.
A huge boom, but the community was so tight knit, and I knew the places that I wanted to go, hang out. I knew you would start seeing the same faces playing in certain bands, and who to try to hang out with or play in front of. And then after a while, it's you're not the new kid anymore, and the community kind of just took care of it. And
was it tough to crack that?
Yeah, it was. And especially from I think anybody that's in music is somewhat socially awkward in its own right. So just being vulnerable to just try to get in. It sounds weird just to be I'm trying to get in with the cool kids,
right?
But it's that's what it was. It's they're making badass music. I want to make badass music, and it was super inspiring, because I'd go out every night and see, coming from a town where there was nothing, and then going to see the best music in the world every night.
Right.
And you're like, shit,
played by the best musicians.
Absolutely. And it's well, I got to step everything up. Whatever.
It is mind-blowing, not being a Nashville native myself, and having spent a little bit of time there, the level of musicianship in that town just
frightening.
Is head and shoulders above anywhere else any other music scene I've ever experienced.
Yeah. Well, I've always said it's I can get, a 4-piece string section or a pedal steel guitar player faster than I can get a pizza.
Right.
It's literally you just walk out the door and just grab your Uber driver, and he's the best songwriter you've ever met. It's what am I doing here?
Right.
I need to go back to Alabama and rethink this. But
what was that like? So you're there for a while, and you're starting to meet people and get to know people and be a part of the scene, and then you make your album at some point and put that. Did you put that out yourself?
Yeah.
I'm wondering how much time, the business side of it all, eats up in those early years.
Yeah. Oh, it's. I don't even.
Are you constantly pitching people and hitting people up at record labels and just doing that whole boogie woogie?
I never really did that. I never like did the whole like tried to get a record deal. I always thought that record labels were like the devil.
Right.
You know, it's like don't ever sign a record deal. You know, the indie kids are the cool kids. Like, and you know, I have quite the opposite opinion now. You know, it's such a strange thing, but I was just like, I just need to play. I don't know what that is. Just need to play, and wherever that's going to take me is going to take me there. You know, because I was just like, you know, wanting to make records.
Right.
And then somehow I got to make an actual record instead of pulling my hair out and hating myself.
And what was like the turning point when you could stop being an engineer? Was that when you got the deal with Dave?
Yeah. I remember I'd borrowed like $5,000 from Scotty, our guitar player, and then like the record deal thing was happening. I was like, if this doesn't pull through, like I'm fucked.
I'm gonna burn you on that loan, and I'm heading home.
Yeah. It's like, and it was literally like days before I like could pay my rent.
Really?
Yeah. It was like the best feeling in the world. Like write a check and be like, thanks, brother.
Yeah.
You know. And now we're 4 years later, and things are pretty cool.
Since making that record and putting it out, have you just been? You said that you have like never have time to record the next one in one solid chunk. Are you touring all the time?
Yeah, we did. From the time we put out that last record till now, we do like right around just shy about 300 shows a year.
Something like that. That's a lot of shows.
It was a lot. Yeah.
And
it was about 250.
Right.
Something like
Still,
that.
a lot of shows.
Yeah.
Do you take? I didn't see your sound check, but I heard your sound check here earlier. Do you always tour with the horn section and the whole deal, big band?
Yeah.
How do you make that work? When you're first, now you're an established guy and have a draw and all that sort of thing. But when you're first starting out and you're playing to 20 people in a bar or whatever it is, how do you make that work?
That goes back to the record label. Like
they supported you.
They supported, like they saw a little bit in front of us and said, all right, let's, because at this point now it's like we're a live band. That's how I see us. Like everything we do now is all about the show, and because a record label is just like a record in itself is just a business card.
Right.
It's like come to the show. If you come to the show, we're gonna get you.
Right.
And so I think they saw that much. Be like, all right, we're gonna put. We were in a 12 passenger van with no heat. Like we were driving. I remember we were driving to L.A. and going through Arizona in the middle of July. No air conditioner because we hadn't had enough time off to get the air conditioner fixed. It was like, and it was,
you get to know each other real fast.
Oh yeah, I can smell. I know whose fart it was.
Right,
like we're that close.
Right. That's a tight band.
Yeah, and but yeah, we've all been, we've slugged it out, and I'm so grateful for it too.
I haven't seen you play live yet. Tonight's gonna be the first time I've actually seen. I've seen clips on YouTube or whatever, but from what I've seen, it seems like you draw from like as far as like the entertainment side of it. Like there's a little bit of that old school crooner vibe on stage. Who are the guys you look up to in that regard, as far as like the entertainment side of it?
I don't know. I feel like I've stolen little bits from everybody. Like I'll have a moment where I feel like Michael Jackson a little bit.
Right.
Or, I feel like Wilson Pickett or Neil Diamond or something, but we were talking last night. It was like, I think growing up like in such a religious background, and like, we were talking about how like everything really is just derivative of being a preacher. From a musician to I think it's live entertainment, like comedians especially. I think comedians are like the pinnacle of entertainment, of a performer.
Sure.
But I think you're all there to have a collective experience, and you're leading the audience, and like that's what a preacher is.
Yeah.
You know, and then so I think that's really what it is. It's just like trying to, you know, command a bigger moment for everybody. So I don't know if that answered your question.
Yeah, no, totally, absolutely. Do you play guitar in your show? Mm-hmm. So what do you play out there? People love when you talk gear on the show. I swear.
Oh, really?
I get more feedback. Like, ask him about his distortion pedal or whatever. Like, what's your live rig?
My live rig is Benson Chimera, 30-watt head with the Benson Tallbird reverb, tube reverb. That I'm playing. Got one of the new Memphis series Gibson 345s. And
I don't think I know that.
Super
guitar.
slick.
What's a 345? Is that like related to a 335?
Yeah, it's the same size, but it has the Veritone pot on it. So it's got, you know, some kind of weird. I just leave it off, but it looks cooler having that extra knob. And it's got the Bigsby. It's pretty slick.
Can't go wrong with a Bigsby on the Gibson.
No. And what else do I have? Tonight I've got I just have like a regular 335 out. And then I do Martin D18, one of the newish ones they gave me, and it's a Canon. Those are so good. I feel like there's more. Oh, and an SG. I got nice. That I do like opens tuning stuff in.
Right.
And they're not. None of them are like old and fancy and cool.
Right. So you haven't gone down the Dave Cobb vintage guitar highway?
No, I can't afford that, man. I can't afford that. I have been wanting a gold top so bad though. But
yeah, me too. It's funny you say that because there was a friend of a friend. It's like one of those classic stories. Found her grandpa.
I hate
away.
those stories,
man.
It's crazy. Like,
and it was so anyway. So this woman was trying to sell it, and I got wind of it early, and I sent it, the picture and the specs, to Dave. I was like, "Is this what I want?" Because I'm not vintage guitar guy. Like I don't have the.
I'm not either.
I love vintage gear, but I don't know like the right year. And I'm glad that I did, because he actually pointed out to me why I didn't want that guitar.
Oh.
It was 1 year off.
all right.
Yeah, but it was like, why couldn't that just be a 57? God damn it!
Yeah.
Why'd it have to be 56?
I played. That's what got me. We played in Macon at the whatever the theater is there, and got to play Dwayne Allman's 57 gold top.
Wow.
That was the Layla guitar.
Really?
And it was.
Does somebody like take care of that thing and keep it in good working order?
I believe his name's Richard, that works at the big house. He like brings it. I almost think it was handcuffed to him, but I'm not.
Yeah,
don't quote me on that, but it should be if it wasn't. But he I was like, gave him the set list, and he like walked it out and gave it to me, and then like came back and got it.
Right.
And,
wiped it down immediately.
Yeah, but what was cool, I can't remember who he bought. Dwayne had that guitar, and then he was going to trade it for another Les Paul, and I can't remember who it was that he was trading it with, and he was like, I'll give you this guitar and take you out to dinner. And so he gave the guitars to like one of his techs, and while they went to dinner, and had him swap out the pickups so he could keep his pickups and put it in a new guitar.
That's a smart man.
Yeah. So I was like, that is super hip.
I mean, you hear about those stories about back in the day, like, Joe Walsh giving Pete Townsend a 50, or maybe it was the other way around, I forget. One of those guys gave the other guy a 59, Les Paul, or, like the holy grail of...
That shit's crazy, man.
Those days are long gone.
Well, I bought our guitar player, Scotty. I bought him a guitar for his birthday.
Oh, nice.
Like that.
My birthday's May 6th.
I'm
just throwing that out there.
All right. I'll write that down.
Just put that in your iCal. I'll give you a little warning.
Okay.
I don't want to in any way dwell on this at all, because it's got really nothing to do with anything. But I was thinking about you recently because, my wife reads all those crappy gossip magazines and stuff, and I saw you on the cover. Mm-hmm. Something about, you and Miranda or whatever, you engaged. I don't even remember what it was. But I saw you on the cover, and I thought, I remember thinking at the time, oh, man, that poor dude's got to go through that shit now.
Yeah.
Like, how invasive has that sort of tabloidy pop journalism been for you?
I just... It's very eye-opening. If anything, it's like... you really can't read too far deep into like anything that you see, you know,
Right.
especially at the checkout line at Kroger or something like that. You know, it's just, I think it's more weird. It's like, you know, having, you know, like your sister call you and be like, are you getting married? I'm like, no, like, no, just stop. But yeah, it's just part of life. It's whatever.
Right.
It's people without creativity,
Right.
mainly.
And when I see stuff like that, it always makes me feel for, I mean, I guess anybody in the public world, but I always think about, like, I don't know, like politicians. And of course, politicians should be held accountable for everything. But
Sure.
But I always think about, like, the minutia of moments that get, like, stripped down and exploited.
Yeah. Well,
And
it's
how
just like,
ridiculous it.
it's like, it's so strange. It's like, we play rock and roll music.
Right.
We're musicians. That's it. Like,
Right.
nothing else is fancy. You know, it's like, if you, like, we're sitting in like a white room. Like, there's nothing all that glamorous about any of this.
If only people knew.
Yeah. It's
Moments ago, I was asleep on that couch.
Yeah. I went and, you know, they did like the IV treatment things the other day and with like the oxygen and all that. And I took a picture, I sent it to our buddy Rat, and I was like, they didn't tell me about this part when I was a kid. Just to survive. You know.
Right.
It's ridiculous.
So what's next for you? Tour.
Tour.
Right.
And
Your record comes out, what you said, early next year?
yeah, I believe so. Something like that. And yeah, we're just, I have no plans. We're just keeping our head down and doing our same old thing. And
How far out do you sort of keep scheduled?
About, I mean, I know pretty well what the next half of the year looks like. Like
Right.
up till, you know, summer of next year.
It's a crazy world now with, you know, everybody's on the road so much more that you have to fight for rooms.
How many
now.
do y'all do?
Well, I always say that Foo Fighters has the appearance of being busier than we actually are, which is oftentimes true, although right now we are actually as busy as it appears.
Right.
So yeah, but we got a new album coming out in 2 weeks, so this is like the
Oh, yeah.
super crunch time
Yeah,
where even
totally.
when you're not on the road, you're still doing, you know, this, that. Like we were doing a bunch of stuff late last night, so
Yeah.
you know, it's just that time. But usually, like, you know, a few months into an album being out, things start to get a little mellower.
Yeah.
Or at least you can. I like the fact that it gets planned out so far in advance now, because at least you can see what
Yeah.
you know. It's like it was always more unsettling to me. I mean, I'm kind of like a total creature of habit, so when things are just kind of popping up and I never really know where you're going to be, it always kind of keeps me in a weird state.
Yeah, I completely agree.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's nice being able to be like, okay, I've got 4 days to look forward to
Totally.
in October.
Yeah. I'll sometimes look at our schedule and I'll go, fuck, man, I'm not going to get a good night's sleep for 12 days.
Yeah.
That's when my next good sleep.
Yeah, totally.
Like, what do you do when you're away from all this stuff? What do you do to relax, or do you have any time to relax?
I don't know. I don't think I do anything.
I seem to recall that when I was out there was some talk of us going out to your place to like shoot guns and
I
fish
do
or
like
something like that. But
yeah, I
never
do
got
like
done.
going fishing, and I do like shooting shotguns. But I don't hunt. I don't kill anything. I do.
Right.
I love shooting clay pigeons.
Right.
I think it's real American feeling. I feel like my testosterone. I feel like a man.
Fuck that clay pigeon up.
Yeah.
Man.
But yeah, other than that, you know, I don't know. I don't have any other hobbies I can think of.
Cool. Well, I offered,
Shop on Amazon.
Hey man, I've interviewed Stapleton earlier, and I said next time you're in California, I'm going to take you surfing. So that offer extends to you too.
Oh, wow. I would love to do
Gonna
that.
Get you hooked. Now they're going to have like, you know, inland wave pools and shit are popping up. So
Really?
maybe you could get one out in Nashville, and
That would be.
There you go.
I love skateboarding. I went to the skate park about 2 months ago.
really.
I got the bug again, you know,
Yeah.
and I was like, man, I can do it still.
See, my oldest son is really into skateboarding, and a year or two ago, we put a half pipe in our backyard, right? And so I started skating again, because I skated when I was you know, in high school or whatever, but it'd been a long time since I'd ever done that, and it was really fun. We got really into it for a while. He stayed into it, but it was actually before I went out to go record in Nashville. I was like, once I booked the time, I'm like, I gotta stay off that skateboard because I'm gonna break my arm. And then when I got back from that, we went right into Foo Fighter land. So same thing. Like now, I constantly look at the ramp in my yard, and I'm like, God, I really want to go skate, but I can't risk it, man.
Yeah, I broke my collarbone snowboarding, and that was like the moment I was like, I'm not invincible anymore.
Exactly.
It hurts to fall, man.
Hell, you wait till you're my age, bro.
Oh, I don't want to.
You just nowadays. I'm just in. I have some low grade pain all the time. Just anytime you look at me, just know somewhere on me is
this
hurting.
guy, poor man, I know he's hurting inside.
That's right. That's right. Inside and outside. Well, thanks, dude. I appreciate you taking the time to do this, Dave.
Oh yeah, thanks, man.
Awesome.
Appreciate it.
From my baby touches me, so we play our mother's game.
All right, that was Anderson East on Walking the Floor. Make sure you get on over to andersoneast.com and find out everything you need to know about him and what he's doing and where he's going and when his record's coming out. And check out his new single, All on My Mind, which is out now, co-written by Ed Sheeran. Maybe when he comes back on the show someday in a couple of years, I'll ask him how that joint happened. But anywho, that's it for this week. Make sure you get on over to Spotify, find the Walking the Floor playlist, sign up, follow it. We need your support. And then when you're done with that, get on over to the iTunes store. Listen to all the old interviews. They're all there. There's a million of them. We got just a couple more. What is it? This 99? I think we got one more episode, and then we're going to be doing the 100th episode, which will be big and large and crazy. So I'll see you next week. This is Chris Shiflett. Adios, amigo.
Baby, all the bass and the beat, low fire rhythm, the sweat and the heat.